Hello everybody and welcome to our session today. My name is Ted Maulucci and I'm the president of SmartONE Solutions. We have with us
I'm Susan Gerock. I'm the Chief Information Officer at Elme Communities, a publicly traded multifamily owner-operator based in Bethesda, Maryland.
And I'm Jeremy Poteet with JBG Smith, owner-operator developer in the DC area as well. We have a REIT, which is JBGS, and we also do third-party management for about 10 million square feet of office space, and we manage 7,000 residential units.
All right, well, let's kick things off. And I guess I'm going to start just by sharing a little bit about my history only in the context. I've been at Realcomm for 27 years probably, and 20 years ago saw the idea of a smart building and thought, wow, we got to do this. I worked for one of the largest multifamily developers in Canada, was so inspired, went back to the owners and said, we got to make a smart building 20 years ago, at which point they said, go figure it out, which took 15 years of testing technology, testing business models, finally did the first building. That building came to market. Someone said, why don't you be an entrepreneur? And I went from my first job of working at a company from 28 years to doing a startup, which thankfully has been working out. And that's my story. And now I would say 20 years later, the vision that started way back here at Realcomm has actually come to market. And now that I look at the sessions, you can start to see that smart technology and multifamily, it's happening. We're seeing the reality of it. And you have any comments to that?
Sure, so it's not just smart technology, it's like all connectivity in general, really connected buildings. Whether it's managed Wi-Fi, or parking solutions, or packaging solutions, access control, anything that can make the resident experience frictionless is what we're aiming for, what we strive for. And I think that's how the buildings, that really is what a smart building has become. It's not the building for the sake of the building, it's actually the building for the sake of the resident experience.
I agree with you, Jeremy, and I think that we're not only seeing the resident experience, but we're seeing the experience of our community teams and how important it is that we free them up to do the things that they're really good at and taking advantage of technology to do a lot of the really mundane tasks that previously had them sitting in front of a computer, not out, talking to residents, walking their communities, meeting with prospective residents. Those are the kinds of things that we've really been focused on taking advantage of. And multifamily technology is just moving at the speed of light. I have been blown away in really about the 3 years that I've been a leader in a multifamily company with how fast technology really moves in this industry.
Yep. And makes us better operators.
Yes.
Right, so that's another part of it. Part of it's the building, part of it's how do we become better operators to create those interactions and to allow for those interactions by taking the mundane out of the property, letting those people focus on relationships, focus on knowing who is living in the building, which over time should allow us to actually keep the residents there in the long term.
So what I love about what both of you said, and I attended your sessions before, so I heard you speaking to this, and technology to create efficiency is fantastic, and I think we've all kind of come together to say that we still need human interaction. Mm-hmm. We want to create communities that people want to love to be in. When people connect with their property manager, when they connect with each other, we create communities where they'll never leave. And I think it's one of the issues today. People can live in a multifamily building yet not know each other, and social isolation leads to bad health and unhappiness. And how do we do the touchy-feely soft side of this to actually create that connectivity? So and you're both kind of going down that path.
That path, and then also implementing solutions that help people reserve amenity spaces, book parties, book events, create social interaction within the property, activate the property, not just from a space perspective, but creating an environment, creating a community. Knowing your neighbor.
Yes, and I think, to bring the business side of it into it, that leads to renewals, that leads to people that stay for a long time. I mean, renewals are such an important part of our business, and you want to renew as many of your residents as you possibly can. The cost with trying to get a new resident, even with all the technology that we've added, you'd much rather keep that resident in place.
So having been at this a long time, the start of my journey was put a network in a building. And the owner of my company, when he was 86 years old, he says, "You keep talking about this stupid network, what does it mean?" And I said to him, "It's like your human nervous system. You don't have nerves for your eyes, nerves for your ears. You have this one system of everything communicating and connected together." The one thing, and then that's become truly embodied in everything we do, that the network, the connectivity, if you can't connect things, you can't read sensors, you can't actuate the building, you can't create efficiency. And yet today I would say the thing that I see the most, I want to get your take on this, is that a lot of people think, oh, you don't need that stupid network thing, everything's the cloud, all it just magically connects. And I think one of the issues I think is the most urgent issue is that people aren't thinking, they're looking for something fast and they're not architecting, knowing what they want to do, knowing that they want good data. And that would be my part, is that strategy part and the due diligence.
Yeah, I think this. Oh, I took my phone. I put my phone in my pocket. But I think this was one of the best inventions, and one of the things that, at the same time, for an IT professional, oversimplifies everything, right? And this became the standard for how easy something should be, but it's just not that easy. Now, at the same time, I do think it brought an understanding that things need connectivity, and that, just like you were saying, that nervous system for the building is the connectivity itself. Everything actually needs to connect to something, whether we're talking smart technology or just the everyday run-of-the-mill system needed to run the building. I do think there is a greater appreciation for that today, particularly because connectivity has actually become more of a commodity. It's a must-have. People expect to be able to access the internet from anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I think Jeremy said in one of our earlier discussions, reducing the friction, and I think that is something we're really focused on. I always give the example, I was sitting there one evening and my husband was on his phone and he said, "It's too easy." And I said, what do you mean? He said, "Amazon. I do 2 clicks and I've got something on the way." Yeah. And I think about that, and I think about why isn't interacting with our community, with living in one of our communities, as easy as Amazon.
Yep.
And if I have an ultimate goal, it's for our residents to look at somebody and say, it's so easy to work with them.
So one thing in the early journey for me was, how do you sell this to your executive? So I was, like I said, it took me 15 years from the point of idea to getting to do the first building. And I would show business cases, and I say, I'm going to save energy, I'm going to save people, and they just said, that's all bullshit. Hopefully you kind of bleep that out. But the truth what it is because you've never done it before. When you get to innovation, it requires a different approach. And then the approach that actually worked for me was, I would go into these meetings and I would have 10 executives in front of me and I would leave with 10 arrows in my back. So the next time I went in and I said, does anybody think a smart building's not going to happen? Nobody put up their hand. Is our company the leader or the follower? Oh, we're the leader. Okay, then where do we start? Because when we get into this edgy area, it's emotional, and it's like, how do we drive that emotional decision as do the right thing? I always give the example, we didn't invest in a railroad across this continent based on a business case. You do what's right. So we don't have too much time, so please comment.
I would say it takes a leap of faith, and different strokes for different folks. Sometimes you're going to make a very math-based decision on something. Can I actually see the ROI? That's actually how real estate runs. That's how deals are made. But if you're an innovator and if you can influence, actually that's what I would take it back to, influencing. And if I had to make a suggestion to anybody in the crowd, it's learn how to influence the people that control the pocketbook.
I think that's a really big part of it, and I think make sure whatever you do, try to be part of developing the strategy at your company, both the short-term strategy, whether it's a year out, or the longer-term strategy, because that way you can make sure that technology is part of helping your company achieve that strategy. That has been a really effective method for me to use, is to be at that table and be able to say, if we want to do X, this is what we're going to have to change.
Yep.
I think I would add to that, the other piece is just persistence.
Persistence, there you go.
If you stop, it's not going to happen. If
You've lost.
Keep going, it's going to work.
Yes, I love that.
Well, thank you, everyone.